What would you do if you were a Premier League star earning $300,000 a week and suddenly recognized your childhood best friend living on the streets? That's exactly what happened to Arsenal's Bukayo Saka on a rainy night in North London. In a world where fame often disconnects people from their roots, what Saka did next didn't just change one life, it inspired thousands. Stay with us until the end, because this incredible act of loyalty will make you rethink what it means to never forget where you came from. Life couldn't be better for Bukayo Saka. At just 23 years old, he'd become not just Arsenal's star player, but one of England's most beloved footballers. That Tuesday night, he was driving home after a late training session, his mind already on the upcoming match against Manchester City. The rain pounded against his car as he drove through Islington. Through the downpour, he could see people rushing to find shelter, umbrellas turning inside out in the wind. At a red light near Highbury, he noticed a small group of homeless people huddled under a store awning. That's when something caught his eye. A young man with a worn beanie cap was helping an elderly homeless person arrange a cardboard shelter. There was something familiar about the way he moved, the way he gestured with his hands. Saka's mind flashed back to his childhood in Greenford, West London, to the concrete playground where he and his best friend Marcus would play football until the streetlights came on. Marcus Williams had been his first football partner, the friend who believed in Saka's talent even before he joined Arsenal's academy at age 7. The two were inseparable throughout primary school. They shared dreams of playing for Arsenal together someday. Marcus was actually the more talented of the two back then, quicker, with natural ball control that made their PE teachers take notice. Everyone thought Marcus would be the one to make it big. But life has a way of taking unexpected turns. When they were 12, Saka's family moved to a different part of London for his father's job. Despite promises to stay in touch, life pulled them in different directions. While Saka rose through Arsenal's ranks, Marcus's path took a different direction. At first, they kept in touch through social media. Saka would see posts about Marcus joining local youth teams, still chasing the football dream, but eventually the messages became less frequent. By the time Saka made his Premier League debut, they had lost contact completely. Still, Saka never forgot the friend who had first believed in him. As his career skyrocketed, Saka often wondered what happened to his childhood friend. He would search for him online occasionally, but after a certain point, Marcus seemed to disappear from social media altogether. There were rumors that his family had faced financial troubles, but nothing concrete. Now, as Saka stared through the rain-streaked window at the homeless man helping others despite his own circumstances, a shock of recognition hit him. The way he tilted his head, the distinctive way he gestured while speaking. It was eerily familiar. "No way," Saka whispered to himself. "It can't be him." But something in his gut told him he was right. Despite the pouring rain and his driver's concerns about safety, Saka made a split-second decision. "Pull over," he instructed his driver. "Right here." What happened next would change both their lives forever. But before we continue, if you're enjoying this story, please take a second to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. It helps us bring more inspiring stories like this one. Despite his driver's protests about the weather and the neighborhood, Saka stepped out into the downpour. As he approached the group, he pulled his hood up, not to hide his famous face, but to shield himself from the rain. "Marcus! Marcus Williams!" he called out, his voice nearly drowned by the sound of rain hitting the pavement. The young man turned, startled to hear his full name. It had been years since anyone had called him anything but Will. His eyes widened with disbelief as he recognized the face under the hood. "Bukayo, is that really you?" Marcus's voice was hoarse, deeper than Saka remembered. For a moment, time stood still. Two childhood friends who once shared the same dreams, now separated by a gulf of circumstance that seemed impossible to bridge. The bright stadium lights and cheering crowds of Saka's world couldn't be further from the cold, wet streets that had become Marcus's reality. Marcus looked away, suddenly self-conscious of his appearance. The worn clothes, the beard he hadn't been able to properly trim in weeks, the dirt under his fingernails that no amount of public bathroom washing could remove. "Man, you shouldn't see me like this," he mumbled, taking a step back. But Saka stepped forward, closing the distance. "It's been too long, brother. Too long." After some hesitation, Marcus explained how his life had unraveled. After Saka left for the Arsenal Academy, Marcus's father, once a promising semi-professional footballer himself, suffered a career-ending injury working construction. With no insurance and mounting medical bills, the family lost their home. Marcus dropped out of school at 16 to work, but when his mother fell ill with cancer 2 years later, everything fell apart. "She fought for 18 months, Marcus explained quietly as they stood in the rain. "After she passed, there was nothing left. No money, no home, no family to turn to. Why didn't you reach out to me?" Saka asked, his voice breaking. "I would have helped." Marcus shrugged. "You were making it big, living the dream we both had. I was proud of you, man. Didn't want to be the charity case, you know? The friend who only calls when he needs money." Saka looked at his childhood friend, seeing not just the hardship, but the pride that remained intact despite everything. "Come on," he said finally. "Let's get out of this rain. We need to talk." "I can't leave just like that," Marcus replied, gesturing to the other homeless people nearby. "These are my friends now. We look out for each other." In that moment, Saka understood that Marcus wasn't just another homeless person. He had built a community, a support system. Despite having nothing, he was still caring for others. "All of you, come on," Saka said, addressing the small group. "Let's get some food and find you somewhere dry for tonight." That night, Saka did something few celebrities would consider. Instead of just helping his old friend, he listened. He rented out a private room at a local restaurant and ordered hot meals for everyone. As they ate, Marcus explained how he'd been living on the streets for 3 years, how he still coached kids in football at a community center when he could, even though he had nowhere to call home. "The center lets me use their showers before I work with the kids," he explained. "They don't pay me, but they let me sleep in the storage room sometimes when the weather's bad. The kids don't know I'm homeless. I make sure of that. I followed your career, you know," Marcus continued, a hint of his old smile breaking through. "Every match. Sometimes from the electronics store windows, sometimes the pubs would let me watch if I cleaned up afterward. That goal against France in the Euros? Man, I was screaming in the street. People thought I was crazy." The contrast couldn't have been more stark. Saka, with his luxury lifestyle and international fame, sitting across from his childhood friend who owned nothing but the clothes on his back. Yet Marcus spoke without bitterness or envy, only genuine pride in his friend's success. "You were always the better player," Saka said honestly. "Everyone knew it." Marcus laughed, a sound that reminded Saka of their childhood. "Maybe for a minute there. But you had something else, man. The discipline, the focus. You worked harder than anyone." As the night progressed, Saka made arrangements for Marcus and his friends to stay in hotel rooms. But as he returned to his own home, in the early hours of the morning, he couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about how easily their positions could have been reversed, how thin the line was between success and failure, not because of talent or work ethic, but because of opportunity and circumstance. He thought about the millions in his bank account, the sponsorship deals, the adoration of fans. And then he thought about Marcus, with all his natural talent, coaching kids for free while living on the streets. By morning, Saka had made a decision that would not only change Marcus's life, but would challenge other football stars to rethink their responsibility to their communities. "I have a proposition," Saka told Marcus over breakfast the next morning. But what happened next wasn't the typical celebrity handout. Saka didn't just offer money, he offered partnership. "Remember how we always said we'd start a football academy together?" Saka asked, sliding his phone across the table to show Marcus some notes he'd made overnight. "For kids like us, from neighborhoods where scouts never visit?" Marcus nodded slowly. emotion visible in his eyes. The Saka-Williams Football Academy, he remembered. We used to draw logos for it during math class. That wasn't just a kid's dream, Saka said firmly. We can make it real. Saka proposed turning their childhood dream into reality, not as charity, but as equals. He would provide the funding and his name, while Marcus would run the day-to-day operations, using his experience both as a coach and as someone who understood life's harshest realities. But Saka was realistic enough to know that the transition wouldn't be immediate. Marcus needed time to recover, both physically and emotionally, from years on the streets. Saka arranged for housing, healthcare, and counseling, not just for Marcus, but for the friends who had become his street family. More importantly, Saka insisted that Marcus be treated not as a charity case, but as a business partner preparing to lead a significant community project. He connected Marcus with business advisors, education opportunities, and health professionals who could help him rebuild his life. "I don't want your money," Marcus had insisted at first. "Good, because I'm not offering you money," Saka replied. "I'm offering you a job, the hardest job you'll ever have and the most important one. These kids need someone who understands their reality, not just another rich footballer telling them to follow their dreams." The first months were challenging. After years on the streets, Marcus struggled with the transition back to structured living. There were setbacks, moments of depression, a brief relapse when he disappeared for 3 days, overwhelming anxiety about the responsibility being placed on him. But Saka never wavered in his belief. "You pulled yourself up every day on those streets," he reminded Marcus during a particularly difficult moment. "You kept your dignity, your compassion, your drive to help others even when you had nothing. That's who you really are. The rest is just circumstance." 3 months after that rainy night reunion, Marcus stood in front of a rundown community centre in South London, the same neighbourhood where he and Saka had grown up. The building was in disrepair, the football pitch overgrown with weeds. But Marcus didn't see what was. He saw what could be. The Saka-Williams Youth Academy would transform this forgotten space into a state-of-the-art facility, offering free football training, academic support, and mentorship to children from disadvantaged backgrounds. But what made this academy different was its commitment to addressing the whole child. Not just developing football skills, but providing meals, academic support, mental health services, and family resources. Another unique aspect of the academy was its staffing plan. Marcus insisted on creating pathways for other homeless individuals to find employment there, as maintenance staff, kitchen workers, and eventually, after training, as coaching assistants. Being homeless doesn't mean being without skills or value, Marcus explained during the planning meetings. Sometimes it just means having no one who believes in you when you need it most. When Saka announced the project publicly, he did something unusual. He didn't position himself as the savior or philanthropist. Instead, he stood shoulder to shoulder with Marcus, introducing him as the academy's director and his equal partner. "Football gave me everything," Saka said at the press conference, "but it wasn't just talent that got me here. It was opportunity. Too many kids with the same dream never get that chance. Marcus and I are changing that starting today." The project quickly caught the attention of other Premier League players. What started as one academy soon expanded to a movement, with similar centres opening in Manchester, Liverpool, and Birmingham, each partnering with individuals who had experienced homelessness. The impact went beyond the headlines. In quiet, meaningful ways, the academy began changing lives. There was 8-year-old Zara, whose family couldn't afford dinner most nights, who began to thrive with regular meals and encouragement. 14-year-old Devon, heading toward gang involvement before finding purpose and mentorship at the academy. And countless others whose stories were still being written. Today, just 1 year after that chance encounter in the rain, the Saka-Williams Academy has already helped over 300 children. More importantly, it has employed 24 formerly homeless individuals, trained as coaches, mentors, and support staff. As for Marcus, he's found more than just a home and a job. He's found his purpose. Using his experience on the streets, he's created unique programs for children at risk of homelessness or involvement with gangs, showing them that their current circumstances don't have to define their future. I understand where these kids are coming from, in a way most coaches never could, Marcus explained to a sports magazine that featured the academy. I've been where some of them are heading if they don't get support. When I tell them there's another way, they believe me because I've lived it. The academy has become known for its holistic approach. Besides top-level football training, children receive tutoring, mental health support, nutrition education, and even family services for those in need. No child is turned away for financial reasons, and a special transportation program ensures that even children from the most distant neighborhoods can attend. Saka remains involved, visiting whenever his schedule allows, bringing other Arsenal players to run special training sessions, and continuously fundraising to expand the program's reach. But he's careful to ensure that Marcus remains the face and heart of the academy. Sometimes I think about what would have happened if I hadn't looked out my window that night, Saka told reporters recently. It reminds me that we walk past people every day without seeing them, really seeing them. But each person has a story, skills and dreams that matter. Perhaps the most powerful aspect of the academy isn't the facilities or programs, but the message it sends. In a society that often blames the homeless for their circumstances, the Saka-Williams partnership demonstrates the transformative power of opportunity over charity, of partnership over patronage. The story of Bukayo Saka and Marcus Williams isn't just about a football star helping his childhood friend. It's about recognizing the thin line between success and struggle, about seeing the potential in people society has forgotten, and about the power of genuine partnership over charity. It's also a powerful reminder that sometimes the most meaningful impact comes not from grand gestures, but from stopping, looking someone in the eye, and remembering the humanity we share. For every Marcus who was fortunate enough to be recognized by an old friend, thousands of others remain invisible, their talents and potential unknown. Since the Academy's founding, over 30 formerly homeless individuals have found employment, dignity, and purpose. More than 400 children have received not just football training, but academic support, meals, and mentorship. And the model has inspired similar initiatives in cities across the UK and beyond. When asked about the secret to the Academy's success, Marcus's answer is simple. We don't see the kids or our staff as projects or problems to solve. We see them as people with potential who just need the right opportunity, the same opportunity Bukayo gave me. As for their friendship, Saka and Marcus have come full circle. The two friends who once dreamed of football stardom on a concrete playground have created something more meaningful than either could have imagined, a legacy that will impact generations to come. If this story touched you, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel. This helps us continue bringing inspirational stories like this one. And don't keep this message to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs to believe in the power of friendship and second chances. Now, we want to hear from you. Do you think more celebrities should use their platform this way? Have you ever reconnected with someone from your past and made a difference in their life? Tell us in the comments. Your experience could touch and motivate many others. Until the next video.